to 6. Biloxi City Council meeting Tuesday, December the 4th, 2018, 6 p.m. We're going to ask Father Wayne Ray from the Episcopal Church of the Redeemer to come and give us the invocation.
If we could bow our heads in prayer. O Lord our God, tonight as these leaders and your people in the city of Biloxi assemble, we pray that we may be able to see our way together, not just to the interests of our own hearts or even the coveted interest in other hearts, but we hope to see into your heart for guidance. We pray for that vision and for a bold discernment that follows from seeing the needs and priorities of your people as you see them. As Holy Scripture has taught us, without a vision, the people perish. We pray for a vision from your heart. We ask you to help us to transform our values, our hopes, and our relationships so that they will bring a greater good, one that builds up the whole body of your people. Help us to design and plan the best for all people. Help us, O Lord, our God, to love mercy, to do justice, and to walk humbly in the vision that you give us when we ask. And we ask all in your holy and vision-giving name. Amen.
Thank you, Father Ray. Mr. Lawrence, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I need a motion to suspend the rules. Got a motion by Mr. Lawrence. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Glavin. Any questions? We just motioned second. You want to read it or afterwards? Okay, after we vote. All right. All in favor? 6-0. Motion carries. I need a...
To our consent agenda, we're substituting item 5N, resolution authorizing tax order amendment number 3 with Neil Schaefer on Area 4 for Boulevard Phase 2. To our routine agenda, we're adding a docket in the amount of $1,275,375.
Okay, I need a motion to... Need a motion to accept the agenda as amended. Motion by Mr. Lawrence.
Second.
Second by Mr. Glavin. Any questions? All in favor? 6-0. Motion carry. Mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is this on? Can you hear me now? Okay. I want to welcome everyone to our December meeting today, or the first of the December meetings, and hope everyone has a good Christmas season. Holiday season. But as I want to make a couple of notes here. The 1.275 million, it was a payment due on the first, and I think we want to add that so we're not wasting any time. The bond, 2011 bond payment, and that's pretty important, I think. But also. And I want to kind of thank Peter on some of the things that's really coming to reality. We sent the county the first of 4 quarterly payments on the port bond money. So that totals about 1.5 million. Depends on actually what the millage that was levied. And I want to congratulate Peter and everyone on our legal, because that money's been there and available for a number of years. And this is the first time we've pressed the whole mill that's due to the city of Biloxi. So I think that's a pretty big win for us. But that $375,000, the first application will be to upgrade the electrical service that's at the Point Cadet Marina, and hopefully be done for this year's Billfish tournament. Thirdly, phase 1, the West Biloxi Boardwalk at Rodenberg to veterans will be ribbon cutting as well as announcing the second phase, which would go from Veterans to Camellia Street. And that will be a joint ceremony of ribbon cutting and announcement. And so that's at 4 o'clock on Thursday the 6th. And I think that concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Wait.
Got one more minute? Okay.
I almost composed my report. Want to spread the Biloxi travel expense credit card upon the minutes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mayor.
Mr. President.
All righty. No departmental reports. We're going to move on to the council report. I'm going to start with Mr. Barrett. Council reports.
Okay, yeah, the only thing I have is I want to remind everyone that we do have our Christmas parade coming up next Saturday in Wool Market, and that'll start at the Chevron on Wool Market Road and end at Wool Market Elementary. We invite everyone to come out and be a part of that, and it'll be our second annual parade.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Mr. Glavin?
I just have a couple of things. Speaking of Christmas parades, got to attend the annual Children's Christmas Parade with Councilman Lawrence and Councilman Tisdale. It was really enjoyable as always. I know we had to change the route because of all the improvements and everything that's happening in downtown Biloxi. But the weather was delightful, and we got to light the town green and see Santa Claus and all that kind of stuff and see all the kids have a wonderful time. Also, Keesler Air Force Base had a joint Christmas reception. The mayor was there along with Councilman Gines was there, and we had a good time talking to the commander and all the wing commanders there, and it was a really good time to kind of learn the mission and support the mission of Keesler Air Force Base and that relationship. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Glavin. Dr. Tisdale?
Yes, we record or we video these council meetings, and sometimes the sound quality is a bit spotty. I don't know if that can be improved, other than if anybody who has a microphone needs to be sure that it's on. And so folks, I think the system's tied into recording systems tied into the house system here. So anyway, that may help a little bit. The second thing is item 4E deals with a conditional use on the old Walmart, and I'd appreciate my colleagues' support on that. I think it's a good idea. That structure's been empty for several years now, and it will be put to good use. The other thing, I think, in the ribbon cutting on the boardwalk, is that tomorrow at 4:30 there at the foot of Rodenberg, where one of the signs is, or the east end. Okay, so that's tomorrow at 4:30. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Councilman Deming. Ms. Newman? No report. Mr. Lawrence?
Last Thursday we lit up the lighthouse again. Been doing that for a long time. It's great, looks good. So that's always fun. Kids love that part. A little rainy, but it was, the lights still come on. Right, that's it. And then Saturday we had the Christmas on the Water parade. Decorated boats, they look good. It's always good for the city. A lot of people was on the beaches, just looking at the parade. Just add more things to town. So we have to thank Rusty David and his crew. Once again, they did all that today. Pretty much raise all the money. They do everything. Shoot the fireworks. So that's a good organization helping the city of Biloxi bring people back into town. And speaking about the decoration and Howard Avenue, everybody want to know how come it's not open. I mean, it's finished pretty much all the way to Lemieux Street, isn't it? Yeah, but I'm just saying, so why not have that decorated open? But, I mean, the end's not finished, but the main part of downtown's finished. Well, just, people keep wanting to know why you got to shut up. We did all that, put 2 million in, open it up if you can. The other thing they want to know is who's in charge of the decorations, put them in certain spots throughout the city. I've been a couple of meetings, people came. I said, well, you have to ask Fofo because he's picking the spots, I guess. I don't know. So I don't know who does. No matter who you talk to, Right, I knew that, but they said who picks where they put the stuff at? I said, I don't know. Just said they just put them up. Well, we never did it in West Biloxi. We don't do it in East Biloxi. Well, whoever you're talking to said you don't put any decorations down there. Well, but I mean, I said you can't have every pole decorated, but they just want to know who does that. So I thought it was parked, but I really wasn't sure who picked the spots where they put the stuff at.
Yeah, we did it. We did it. We did a major upgrade.
Yeah, say again.
So I said we did. We passed a resolution earlier.
Yeah, I did. I know that. I'm just, yeah, but I'm talking about, they're talking about putting this in a certain spot. So I thought I didn't know who did that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilman Deming? No report. And I don't have much. Just one thing, and that's be just for Walt. Just we're coming along with the community and all the streets just right before Christmas, because it's going to be that time of year to give us ask for a good cleanup for us in the community. And that concludes my report. We're going to move on to citizen comments. 45. We got a total of 45 minutes time allotted, 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone on my left would like to come up and speak? Anyone on my left? Yes, sir. Come on up. Please sign in and give us your name and address over the microphone.
Okay, my name is Richard Tornabene. I'm with Suez Corporation. We're on the consent agenda a little bit later for your elevated water storage tank maintenance. I'm just the one to let you know I'm here. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else to my left? Anyone to my right? Come on, Samantha.
I would like to know if there is, how can I get someone to look at the water flowing from Highland into my yard? I've called before, but no one has responded or came by to see what I'm saying. Every time it rains, the water flows into my yard and it's soggy for a few days.
Okay. I think Mayor, we can turn that over to Public Works. Yes.
And one other thing I would also like to know if someone could come and check out the water, because ever since they did the Biloxi infrastructure, it's like little trash is in the water. So I don't know if I got hooked up to the same old system or something has happened. I called the plumber and they're saying, well, no, everything is hooked up in my home fine.
Okay, Ms. Brown. You're still over there by the school area, over there in the Sunkiss area? Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, we'll get someone to check it out. Thank you, Ms. Brown. All right. I want to take the time out to welcome the speech class from Jeff Davis. Would y'all stand up? All right. Thank you guys for coming on out. See one of the council members at the end of the session, and we'll sign off on your paper. So thank you guys for coming again. All right. We're going to move. Is there anyone else that would like to come up and speak? Did I miss anyone? Okay. We're going to move on to the policy agenda. Ordinance A, Lucy.
Ordinance amending section 17.2.10.10 of the Code of Ordinances relating to street trenching and right-of-way maintenance resurfacing.
That was motion by Dr. Tisdale. You have anything on that, Dr. Tisdale?
Not really, other than sometimes apparently we have jobs, infrastructure issues, and the contractor comes in, fixes that issue or resolves that issue, and then damages adjacent pipe or whatever. So we're requiring them to basically video so many feet in each direction after completing the job, just to be sure that they didn't damage other infrastructure while resolving their particular issue. That's the way I've read this. Is that accurate, Mr. Leonard, pretty much? Yes is okay. Okay, close enough. That's all. So it's common sense to me, and it protects the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tisdale. Second by Ms. Newman. You have anything, Ms. Newman? No? Anyone else? Okay, we're going to call for the question. All in favor? Okay, 7-0. Motion carries. Ordinance B.
Ordinance to approve a zoning map amendment for property identified as an unaddressed parcel situated in the northwest corner of Cedar Lake Road and Tribe Drive from RS 7.5 medium density single-family residential to RM 30 high-density multifamily residential.
That was motion by Councilman Glavin.
Yes, this is a development. It sits on about 9 acres of land. They're interested in doing some condo, kind of quasi-apartment type of development, is what I understand, and I think it's needed in the area. The population is growing in this area, and I think it fits a need.
Thank you, Councilman Glavin. It was second by Dr. Tisdale. Any questions, Dr. Tisdale?
No, Mr. Creel, these are condos or apartments? Condos, I think. Good enough. Okay, thank you. No, nothing more to add.
Any other questions by the council? I'm going to call for the question. All in favor? 7-0. Motion carries. Resolution C.
Resolution granting conditional use approval to convert an existing single-family residence into a duplex for property identified as 349 Hiller Drive.
Motion by Ms. Newman. Need a second? I'll go. Second by Mr. Glavin. Any questions? Nope.
I had one that, unless you're gonna say something, wait for it.
Anything, Ms. Newman? No. Go ahead.
Mr. Creel, this was an extremely small house. It's hard to believe we're gonna turn this thing into a duplex. This house is not very big to start with. You know, if these people buy houses and make the mistake of buying and paying too much money for it, that's not the responsibility of this council to try to say their mistake. I mean, this house is a little house.
Well, we're dealing with the zoning issue right now, and a duplex is allowed as a conditional use in RS 7.5 zoning. Now, the square footage for the living quarters on the inside would be governed by the building code when they get ready to come forward. But when he made his presentation, it had been advertised. There was no opposition from the neighbors, and there was a lot of enthusiasm on the planning commission's part that this would be an improvement to the neighborhood. So the square footage can be worked out. It's a medium-sized house. I wouldn't say it's a small house, but certainly enough for him to make it into a duplex.
It's a small house to be turned into a duplex.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so what is the square footage supposed to be for the duplex?
There's not a required square footage for a duplex per se, but the International Property Maintenance Code governs it by the number of people that would go into it. You know, you could make a duplex there for 2 couples or for 2 individuals, and the square footage is tied to the number of people that would be living in there.
Does this qualify for short-term rental?
No, sir. No, it is single-family zoning. It remains single-family zoning, so short-term rental would not be allowed.
Yeah, 'cause we're getting a lot of renewing all these people with these short-term rentals, trying to put them anywhere they want.
Yes, sir.
Taking the shot, you know, if you pass the fine, if you don't, they'll go somewhere else.
Yes, sir.
So you just got to watch all these things like that. You get you pretty good here. It's a
Short-term
small
rental.
house, going to turn it into a duplex. So I mean, the guy's got to spend a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
supposedly. So now you got to have 2 houses, 2 kitchens, 2 everything. You
Yes,
got
sir.
front door, back door, both sides. You're taking this. That's a lot to be done to that house.
He's aware of it, and he knows that he's got to put a fire separation wall between the 2 units, so he's aware of that.
Right.
Okay. Any more questions? Call for the question. All in favor? Okay, 6-0. Ms. Newman's out the room. Resolution D, Lucy.
Resolution granting conditional use approval, excuse me, to authorize the establishment of a pawn shop within an existing structure situated upon property identified as 2008 A and B Pass Road.
Need a motion on resolution D?
I'll move it.
Okay, motion by Mr. Lawrence,
I'll second it.
second by Dr. Tisdale. Any questions?
Could you explain this a little bit further, Jerry? We're doing what here? Seems everybody a little quiet on this subject.
The property is zoned NB, and a pawn shop is allowed as a conditional use in NB. When it went before the Planning Commission, there were concerns that he might have outdoor storage. He stated that the majority of his business is selling jewelry, especially watches, and that there would be no outside storage involved in this. But it's an existing building.
What do you mean by outside storage? Like,
Well, you know, sometimes in a pawn shop, they'll have a trailer or a camper or something like that that they've lent money on. And in this case, he has none of that on the outside, so.
you said he could just gonna do a lot of jewelry and watches, okay, but that you can't control him. He pretty much can do what he wants inside the store.
Well,
Whether guns, whatever.
what you're approving is a conditional use, and the statements made in the court reporter's document said that he would not have outdoor storage. If he violates any conditions that y'all put on him, then the city has the right to revoke his conditional use permit.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
I got a couple, Mr. Creel. So was there any opposition at the planning commission? Was there any-
No. I have received one phone call after that meeting,
Okay.
but none at the meeting, no.
Was the vote by the planning commission unanimous?
Yep.
Um,
Yep, it was. It
I
was a
believe it
15-0.
was, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, any more questions?
Yeah,
Dr.
just a
Tisdale?
couple of observations. I was present at the Planning Commission meeting when this was heard. It's located within a neighborhood business zone. The main service is to sell and service watch and jewelry, buying and trading. No items to be stored outside or outside storage, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, or whatever. Will operate in the existing building on the east side, as I recall. On the west side of that building is a tattoo parlor and barber shop that are currently operating. No one spoke in support or opposition, and the Planning Commission approved it on a 15-0 vote. So I have no problem with this.
Thank you, Dr. Tisdale. Any other questions on D? I'm gonna call for the question. All in favor? 7-0. Motion carried. Resolution E, Lucy?
Resolution granting conditional use approval to authorize the self-storage facility for property identified as 2381 Pass Road.
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Tisdale. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Glavin. Any questions? No questions? Call for the question. All in favor? 7-0. Motion carried. Resolution F.
Resolution to approve memorandum of understanding among the City of Gulfport, Mississippi, and Rio de Janeiro, Republic of Colombia.
Need a motion on F?
I'll move it.
Motion by Mr. Glavin.
I'll second it.
Second by Dr. Tisdale. Open it up for any questions.
Yeah, I'll give you a report. You know, this is a reciprocal trip that the folks that visited us from Rio Negro in the Medellin area, and it's probably 4 million people in that one area. This first opportunity, well, let me say, this is a declaration to work together between the cities of Biloxi, Gulfport, and Rio Negro in Antioquia, Colombia. It was a very interesting opportunity that we saw. And again, in May of last year, they visited us, and a number of strong operations are interested in doing some in the United States related to distribution of flowers. The floral application of this MOU would, in a few words, instead of going 35 tons of flowers going from Rio Negro, Colombia, to Miami, and then being trucked to 28 or 30 distributors, would possibly go to Gulfport and be irradiated with the facility that they have. And a number of things would be going back. But this is the first application of this international market. I think the governor mentioned something the other day at the opening of the port, that this is the first channel. You know, who knows, there are additional things to come up from the south, but there are also things that go down, you know, to the south from our area. One interesting part, again, some very impressive operations. Again, a number of folks that are involved with airplanes, supplying the things to and fro, based in, you know, New York is financing it. A number of trucking and distribution operations that operate up and down New Jersey, which possibly would have a presence here to do this import and export. So I urge you to, again, the council in Rio Negro as well as Gulfport supported this. And again, it is just a declaration of the intentions to work together. Another example would be some of these exotic fruits and vegetables that never had a chance to get up here because of all kinds of customs and other regulations could be happening here, as well as you know, they come up with 35 tons of flowers, they're going to go back with 35 tons of something. But while another interesting thing that we ran into was Spirit Airlines, and now they fly, you know, to and fro Rio Negro or Medellin to Orlando. But we initiated some conversations about, you know, getting folks here, and not so much from Colombia, but Spirit Airlines has a presence down here. You know, anything that's good to bring new people here, new markets, I think is worth the effort to move forward. So that's what we're asking here. Just, and again, the last paragraph is as completely non-binding as you could possibly ask for. But I urge you, and I think it would be good to have a unanimous vote in support of this MOU.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mayor, I know you met the mayor from the city up there. How many council members does he have?
He had 17. We did. It was very interesting. They again, they met in a room, about the third floor, but each desk that they had was over 200 years old. You know, so I mean, it goes back, and I think Cliff's here, but you know, they call it the cradle of democracy, and they, you know, a long while with. In 1804, I think, is when a lot of this started kicking around, and so I was, you know, you hear all of these tales about bad things happening. Of course, it was at one point in time the most dangerous place on earth. But you know, other than seeing a few people with machine guns, I mean, I never felt any problem. But yeah, it was interesting.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have just several things concerned me. Why the 5 years?
Just a period. Every contract needs a period.
What does it exactly mean that we're doing? If these people want to come here,
we're just going to work
doing?
together in order to, you know, expedite any kind of hoops or hurdles to bringing things and people to and fro from Columbia to Gulfport into our area, to our coastal area. Again, HC, the Harrison County Economic Development leaders were there, some people from SMPDD, some of our group, Mayor of Gulfport and I, and we actually played a little music down there, but it has nothing to do with the memorandum. But it was just, again, a declaration to work together. We don't exactly know what form that will take or what kind of challenges, but I don't see any challenges. I don't see any downside of not agreeing to work, you know, to cooperate.
I know we have this all was in action 10 years ago and it never materialized.
Well,
they said the problem they had 10 years ago was they had nothing to send back to them.
Yeah, well,
so there was too much expenses, so that's why the thing fell apart.
That has changed.
So what's changed now?
Well, again, the customs operation, the cargo facilities that they have there to accept international trade, I think has been streamlined, and we have the attention both national governments in order to make this happen.
And then what is the security going to be like? You know, because how come they have a lot of, not this particular flower thing, but at Columbia itself, well, there's a lot of the drugs and everything in this thing, so we got to protect the citizens here. So what security are we going to have when that comes? Those are the concerns I have. This thing here don't mean anything. It don't say nothing. I mean, I don't know why you vote on it, but it don't really say anything. my thing is, once you get this line of communication coming back and forth, the people got the billions and billions of dollars, they get anything they want done. How do we protect the people here?
Well,
I mean, this not
again,
some of the
this comes
places
through
happen.
international cargo and customs and every other. Homeland Security will be there, just like they do in Miami. So it's no difference. So, would you rather have the business in Miami or have it here? So possible, trucking and some of these other jobs could be. I mean, that's the bottom line. Those same considerations are happening in Miami. We would rather have them here.
Yeah, Miami's got way tougher security than we have. We don't have that kind of
No,
personnel.
I disagree.
We don't have that kind of personnel there. You can't match Miami, but what we have in Gulfport. So I just have a problem with the whole thing. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
But anyway.
Anyone else? And, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call for the question. All in favor? Okay, 6 and 1 against?
Yeah.
6-1, motion carries. I need a motion on the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Glavin, second by Dr. Tisdale. I'm gonna start with Mr. Barrett and see if he have anything first. Item 0.
Oh. Oh.
Oh,
I don't understand what we're doing. I got
On Q, are those cameras going to be just for recognition for stuff that's in the system, or will those be for tickets as well?
No,
There won't be any radar or anything?
You can't use cameras in the state of Mississippi to issue citations. There's a state law that doesn't allow that. All the license recognition cameras will do is if something is entered in the national crime computer, when it comes into Biloxi, it will alert us that this vehicle just came into Biloxi.
And so it just basically pings the
Yeah,
system?
It's going to
Okay.
record just about everything that passes it.
Okay.
But it's in a case like that, if we had a vehicle that was used in a particular crime or something, we could go back and see when it came into Biloxi.
Okay.
But other than that, in the stationary cameras, we haven't decided where we're going to place those yet, but there's several areas where we think they would help.
Okay, that's all I have.
thank you. Mr. Glavin?
I
Oh.
just got one comment on. Are you finished? Is that it? Okay. I just got one comment on M. I think that's a very important part of our consent agenda. It states we're giving the mayor the authority to do everything and anything in his power to submit an application on behalf of improvements of our bridges and different projects like that through MDOT, right? So is there enough, there's a considerable enough money there to do all of our projects, or you gotta submit them and get them approved by one by one?
The state has given us till December the 14th to submit projects on bridges that meet their criteria. We have 4 bridges that meet the criteria they're looking for. We have till the 14th to put those projects together and be signed by a PE. We're working with 2 different A&E firms to do that. One of the criteria in submitting says that the council has to have approved that we could submit. So in order to hit that December 14th date, we try to get this one on just generic response. Now I can tell you the 4 bridges. The 4 bridges are the Cedar Lake Bridge, the small bridge on Old Route 67 as you go up and off Cedar Lake and to the left, a bridge on Porter Avenue, which is more of a culvert than it is a bridge. And the 4th one was kind of an afterthought. It's the very small bridge that leads to the Causeway Park. And those are the 4 that we're putting together to package. It's a very fast-moving project that the state put out for bridge repair.
Is a match involved with any
No
of these?
match.
No match, this is a fully funded?
Fully funded if they're accepted.
Beautiful, thank you.
Okay, Councilman Tisdale, Dr. Tisdale?
Yes, on item O is the East Biloxi Convention Center and the study and so forth, and we're partnering with BVR for this joint study, and I'm thinking they're putting up the $250,000 basically for the study. Well, if we're partnering, what are we putting up, or at what point? I'm assuming that somewhere down the road, if that site is selected and we get together and work these things out, that I'm trying to determine what other costs there might be to the city in the future.
Yeah, the first 200. up to $250,000 to do feasibility. And again, our part would come in if it is feasible, and upon the investment of 100, the scope of that project, then we would do matching or infrastructure related kinds of things in order to make the project. First of all, feasibility. Secondly, the site selection. Thirdly, the scope of the what works best, what is feasible as far as retail and other uses instead of just a box. So it's pretty comprehensive. Yeah.
I think we also provide an option for purchase of that property.
If our site, we own part of that site, that would be
Right, but what I'm getting at is there are a couple of ifs here, and all these things have to be resolved. So in a perfect world, if they like that site and the study indicates a few things, then they're paying for the study basically up front. We're coming back to offset that cost to them in some form or fashion with incentives, or like you said, in infrastructure or whatever.
But the way we did it, you wouldn't commit any money until after everything is done. It would come back for a final review and a final feasibility study. This resolution doesn't commit anything, any new money or anything. It's basically somewhat of an accommodation to BBR. The agreement says there'll be a joint feasibility study, and they asked us to inquire and who we would be comfortable with for recommendation. And this is basically just us saying this person, CSL, had done one, I think, right after Katrina. It would kind of be updating that. It had a general favorable response, and it's just some guidance we are offering them. They're free. They don't have to accept our recommendation, but they felt it would be more comfortable if we assisted, that they didn't just go out and hire somebody that we were not happy with.
Do we anticipate any future cost if everything's worked out and that's the site, other than that $250,000?
No.
Favorable inventory rates and those kinds of things that make it, and a number of features that are different than any, again, talking about a similar facility to the wharf in the DC waterfront area, again, with a lot of different uses. Retail being one thing that would be part of it, and maybe an event center, and those kinds of parameters that we're going to see will work or will not work, and then where it should be. And if our site, that option would be offered, if that site happened to be the place that, these professionals would say this will work best here, of one of, possibly 5 sites that we would identify to study.
Okay, and I wanted to thank Mr. Blessy and Mr. Kirkland for getting me a copy of that CSL study in 2004. It was very, very interesting. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Tisdale. Mr. Demon, you had something else for the chief?
I did. On the, well, it's really for the administration. The cameras, are we tied to Mississippi Power on those cameras? And the reason I'm asking is because I've had a competitor reach out to me and express that they can provide the same product for less with more features. And so I didn't know, they were curious to know why it wasn't put out to bid and why they didn't have an opportunity to submit for this business.
They would need to go to Mississippi Power if Mississippi Power wanted to use their service. What this is for us, there's nobody else out there that's offering us these cameras for free like this on this 5-year plan. There's nobody out there that I know of that has come forward and done that. Mississippi Power is gonna cover 100% of the cost.
Okay.
And we would just reimburse them at $3,200 a month if we go through the first year. There's some questions that we want answered. We'll go back to the drawing board. But it overall, it is a 5-year plan.
It's just $3,200 a month. We're not paying the upfront costs for the cameras.
Absolutely. And it's storage alone. If somebody says they can beat that, I don't want to say that that's not true, but storage alone would be very expensive.
Okay. They were building in the cost of the camera per camera cost that Mississippi was suggesting, and theirs were less than that. But if Mississippi Power is paying for that upfront cost, then
there's
it's tough to beat.
nothing else for us but $3,200 a month. It almost sounds unbelievable, And I'm sure there's reasons why that's happened the way that it's happened.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Mike,
Out there.
can you relist those bridges? I was interrupted briefly when you were going through the 4 bridges in M.
Read the bridges again. Yeah, there are 4. These are 4 bridges that meet the criteria that that would be considered that require immediate repair.
I've got it.
Cedar Lake Bridge is one, is the largest of them. And as you know, we already have a project that you saw as part of our bond money. If we were to get that project, we could take that off the bond list and they'd pay for it. So Cedar Lake Bridge, repair, not new construction. The Porter Avenue Bridge, you would never imagine it was a bridge. It's really a very large culvert, sort of. It's under Porter Avenue, right there next to Division Street. There's a small bridge like that that's also not recognizable really as a bridge. That's on Old Route 67, just up from Cedar Lake Bridge. And the 4th one that we added at the last minute, because it was just, wasn't a bridge we thought much about before, and that's the little small bridge that goes to the Causeway Park. So those are the 4. Two different A&E firms, Brown Mitchell Alexander and Neil Schaefer, are working up 2 and 2 of those projects to get them ready to go to the state on the 14th.
Somewhere in your notes, will you take down Thornhill Drive? Thornhill Drive is another small bridge. You may not even know it's a bridge. It might be an expanded culvert.
Thornhill?
Yeah, Thornhill Drive, but it needs to be.
Well, let's maybe get
It's-
some feedback on it.
Are you familiar with where it is? It's back behind the golf course. Okay.
No, there's a 5th that I didn't tell you about that is already approved for state aid to replace this year, and it's a small bridge that's on Bayview, that's near where the Peyton seafood packing plants are, and that one's already accepted by state aid, and they're going to do that one for us this year. So that's again not a match. So
Okay.
On the bridge on Porter Avenue you're talking about the one with connected to Forest to Keesler, Porter,
right.
Eric, all of these that run
It's-
through back, right?
right.
So are you doing all of them or just one?
It's the one that's we're talking about, Councilman, is not the one that crosses under Division. It's the one that crosses under Porter.
Right.
But it's the same body of water.
But I mean, it comes through they run through Keesler,
Mhm.
to Forest,
Right.
it goes through all of them.
Correct.
It runs out to Keegan's Bayou.
You finish?
So I mean, you only have a problem with one of them, or you gonna look at all of them? That's why I was asking you.
Well, all of our bridges are inspected every year by the state inspectors, and these particular ones are ones that have already been identified as requiring repair, immediate repair, so that they sort of floated to the top. I'm sure there's lots more, but
Yeah, I know the one right there on Benacca caved in before. And that all runs the same way. That's the same system.
What about the one on Forest is in
They
line
all
with
run
those
the all the
others?
same.
It's the same kind of situation. It's over that.
That's the drainage. They all have bridges. All of them. They all connect to the Keesler drainage system. That's where they all have bridges. I mean, they're doing a lot of work around there. So I mean, you have to just, if you're gonna do it, you can check them all. They all do the same thing.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You got anything else, George?
Yeah, I was going back to they were supposed to do the feasibility study, and why are we involved in if they hire an SMPD to do that? Why we have to do that? Why we have? I mean, they went out and picked them out. Whoever did it, fine. I mean, so I'm just trying to figure out why we tied into this one too. I mean, that's up to them. They were supposed to do a feasibility study. They were supposed to be doing everything. We weren't supposed to be doing anything.
They are. All they're asking is, does the council have a recommendation? If they're looking for some guidance from the council as far as, there's a lot of people that could do this. We could have gotten the company that recommended the stadium, but I don't think we would want to get a study from them. So, I mean, they're looking for guidance, and I think it's our duty in the contracts as we will jointly work with them. And these people that they propose, we don't have a problem with that. And so they would like some guidance.
Well, that's what I just wondering. I mean, when November, when they passed all this, I guess they needed guidance then too, huh? I mean, I had no problem doing some of this stuff, but I mean, it's not like we just keep doing the same thing over and over. I mean, they were supposed to be doing everything. So they come in, that was all over the paper. They were doing everything. Now all of a sudden here, a month later, we voting on something again for them.
We haven't
Got
spent any
anything
money
else,
since that
George?
time. We
Got anything else?
received a $50,000 option from them for the property, and we have not spent any money. So that's where we are.
Well, but they doing these studies, that's just something that might happen, it might not happen. I mean, that's something, that's what they're supposed to be doing, to study this stuff. We got no problem with all that. So, yeah, I do have one, you substituted in, what did you substitute in? Hello? Are y'all out there?
I can answer the question. Basically, the figure they had was listed at, I believe, 39,000 on 5N. Yeah, that's Beauvoir Phase 2. Originally, what we received was $39,854, and that was in error. The figure should be $58,098. I think I checked with Mr. Rohde. He said the work's been done. It's in my ward, is why I'm familiar with it. And all we're doing now is paying the contractors for the work that was done. Walt, you may want to.
Yeah, in part, Council, the top part, around the 38,000 is for work that was already designed by Neil Schaefer. They just hadn't had a task order amendment approved, so that we need to, council approve that so we can reimburse them for the work. Remaining net of that is for design on a pump station that needs to be improved. And that's in the other section of it. That's why there was a difference on the resolution.
Okay.
Just one.
You're okay?
You substitute, you gotta have the reason we substituted. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's it.
Anything else, George?
I think that might be it.
It might be it. All right, well, I'm gonna call for the question, and exceptions will be second. All in favor? Okay, exceptions. Ms. Barrett? Oh. Ms. Glavin?
None.
Dr. Tisdale?
None.
Mr. Demme? Mr. Newman? George?
No, we're just gonna keep voting on these, right?
None?
Right.
And me, none. Okay. Consent agenda passes. All right, code enforcement.
Item A on the agenda, Janice Y. Brown, 2033 South Hill Drive. Ms. Brown contacted me this week and asked if she could have 2 weeks extension, and we would be okay with that.
Okay.
We'll do it.
We can make them,
For 2 weeks.
let's go with 30
Go,
days.
we'll do it.
I'll
Just
move
thir-
for 30 days.
we'll
I'll
just motion
second
for
it.
30 days. Second.
Ms. Brown, did you want to say something?
Okay, come on up.
You don't want the
Robert
30
made the
days?
motion, I seconded.
Okay.
But I've been wringing my hands about this, and so I prepared some words, and I sent Mr. Demme a copy and Mr. Krill a copy. And before I got here early and talked to Dr. Tisdale, and he told me the process of how things went. And so I still need to say these prepared words because I wrote them, and it's the reason why I haven't cut my grass. So it's going to get personal, but it's a thing that I think the community needs to know. Okay. So I appeal walking on my property without permission. People tend to not want to walk or roam in high grass. I've witnessed adults and children in the day and at night cross my property to take the shortcut to get to Live Oak. In the summer, I've seen cars stop at the curb and allow passengers to get out to cross my property to take this shortcut. In times past, this was no issue for me, but I was drugged and sexually assaulted on my property more than once, and no one has been brought to justice because I don't know who. I just know what happened to me. For all I know, it could be somebody here, sitting here tonight. I just don't know. Or it could be someone in the audience who have knowledge of what happened. I just don't know. Additionally, in May of this year, my mailbox was knocked down intentionally 2 to 3 times. It's happened multiple times before, and in the past, I just blew it off. Even though I don't smoke, cigarette butts congregate around my mailbox and the driveway, and there are 2 signs in close proximity to my property. These signs are meant to help traffic negotiate the curb, because my house is right on the corner of Southfield Drive and Highland. Well, the sign right in front of me, the arrow sign, it has graffiti on it, S-H-E-D. I don't know what that means, but it does. And the sign right next to it does not. Okay, so trying to explain to the council how longer grass made me feel safer is humbling and humiliating, but some positive things have come out of this. It's important, like I said before, that my community knows what happened to me, and Lord willing, because of my story, we'll all be more vigilant. Maybe something like this has happened to somebody else and they kept quiet because they thought, who would believe such a thing? That was the main reason I kept quiet for a while. And some people probably just thought I was weird. Mr. John Lambert suggested I call dispatch and request a patrol at night, and I thank him for that. I'm using that suggestion. Please know that I'm not a derelict, being disobedient to civil authorities, and since I began the cleanup or else notice, I've thrown away some building material. However, I've half kept some to construct an arbor in my backyard this spring. So I'm requesting longer than 30 days for the small amount of materials that's in my, up under my carport. I received a letter from Mr. Krill informing me that the public hearing will be held, and that if my property is adjudicated, I could be a menace and people would be allowed to enter my property up to a year, and this is not acceptable for me. I ask that you consider these special circumstances. That's the last thing I need. Somebody on my property without my permission for a whole year. That's how this happened in the first place. As I mentioned before, don't know who. It could have been anybody. It could have been the Biloxi infrastructure people. They were right in front of my house for a whole month working with the water things. I just don't know. Okay. So, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Brown, I just looked through my emails, and I don't recall getting an email from you.
I gave you a letter. I brought it personally and gave it to Ms. Brasher.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll review it when I get down to the box. If you ever need me, just call me directly. Do you have my number?
I think I do. She gave me.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We have no objection to a 30-day extension.
I'm sorry, Mr. Krill.
I said we have no objection to a 30-day extension on that property.
Did we vote on this? Did we vote on the 30?
So what are you doing?
We need a vote.
Yeah.
We need a vote on
We
it.
have a motion and a second on a 30-day extension.
That's what I thought we were doing
Call for the
15
question.
minutes ago.
All in favor?
Yeah.
You know.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay.
Mr. Krill, if you would.
Item B on the agenda, Helen Galat, 0 Bayside Drive. That case has been resolved. Item C on the agenda, John Prather, 1758 Ridgeway Drive. That case has been resolved. Item D, Patricia A. Ryan, 1048 Lafayette Street. That case has been resolved. Item E, Samar LLC, 251 Lemieux Street. That case has been resolved.
That was smooth. Well, that will finish our,
Routine.
well, I didn't finish our routine. I finished our code enforcements, and we'll move on to the routine agenda. Lucy?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Do you have any discussion on the routine agenda? George?
No, I'd just like to see Ken, Keith, Walt, one of y'all, any more money come in this month, this week? Any big money? Uh-oh, he buttoned his coat. That's not good. That's not a good sign. Thank you.
Do you have any more discussion on the routine agenda? There being none, call for the question. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chairman, can I have just one point of personal privilege?
The chair will acknowledge Kenny Glavin.
This council asked for a feasibility study from Nexsite, and we anticipated having that in our boxes this week or electronically. I'm just requesting it again, if we could have it within the next week. It's the feasibility study that doesn't disclose any particular companies, I believe, but he did say that he would provide that for the council, the feasibility study part of the markets research. Just requesting that again. I appreciate the chair's consideration.
Do I have a motion to recess?
So moved.
A motion by Paul Tisdale,
Second.
second by George Lawrence. All in favor? Motion carries unanimous. We are in recess.
What's that?